All right, well, my time in Spain is over. I've gotten my degree, done studying here, and I'm moving back to the US. To be honest with you guys, I'm actually jumping around from couch to couch for a little bit, for about a month. I don't really have an actual address for a while. But in the long term, the good news is I'm moving to New York. I got a job working at an audio company there. I kind of want to know what you guys want to see. So I should probably hold it like this. Please let me know what you want to see out of New York. It's an exciting city, but yeah, I'm leaving where this all started. It's an empty room, girlfriend. Guess I'll see you on the other side of the planet. All right, and suddenly I'm in a new country. I'm in the US. Where in the US?
You will never know.
Yeah, so I'm going to New York, but until then, I am pretty much in the least ideal place to do anything related to audio. And I'll show you what that means in here in a second, but first, if you noticed, I got a new mic. Yeah, I got the RE20, and you bet your booty I'm gonna have a full review on it soon once I figure out how to get into a space that actually has at least silence. Let me show you where I'm at right now. Here, we're gonna go to camera audio. I am at a literal construction site. Here are my lovely doggos. Sierra, and Sagan. And yeah, you can see here, that's an unfinished kitchen. We're living a little rough for now. I do have my trusty old amp though. Oh God, this video looks terrible. All right, so yeah, as you can see, not the most ideal place. But while I'm in this sort of transitionary period between the new place, which would be in NYC, and the old place, which was in Spain, I figured we could do a little Q&A, and we'll go from there. So I put out a post the other day about questions people wanted to ask me, and then I also just have some questions prepared that literally everyone asks in the comments. So Lucis asks, what's my favorite element or instrument to mix in a song? And I kind of have three answers that I kind of go back and forth on, those being drums, vocals, and synths. So if you guys don't know, I'm a guitar player, and I actually don't like mixing guitars. I find them kind of difficult to place in a mix, especially on like the stereo field. And I find it kind of difficult to make them not sound harsh at times, depending on the mic placement, and also to make them not sound two-dimensional. But if you can get a drum sound right, and then on top of that, if you can get a vocal sound right, you've made your song. That is the foundation, and that is the top line of the entire track. And that, to me, is super pleasing. Also, I find drums and vocals to be somehow easier to work on. That might just be because I'm not as picky with them. I'm more picky with a guitar sound because I play guitar. So that means maybe I'm just ignorant to the nuance of like a drum sound or a vocal sound. But yeah. And as far as synths go, synths are just fun. Synths are essentially just sound design the whole time, making something as thick as possible, and you don't necessarily have to go through the same process of like EQ and compression. It's much more about crafting a sound within the synth itself, at least with like software synth, like Serum or Vital. And to be honest, I find most people are going to be using software synths anyways, not hardware synths, because those cost money. Okay, so American Snick asks, oh, the lighting in here is going to be fun. Is music production and tech easy to learn for a noob like me to start/follow through? My honest answer to that is no matter what, if you're a musician, you are at least somewhat involved in music tech. It kind of depends on what instrument you play. I'm going to assume the most people on this channel are going to be either vocalists or guitarists. That's just kind of the feel that I get from it. And that means you're going to be involved in some element of music technology, whether it's using guitar pedals as a guitarist, using an amplifier, understanding tone through crafting a tone on an amp. Or if you're a vocalist, you have to figure out what microphone you want using frequency response charts, figuring out what sound works for you. And that is already one step into learning music technology. Music technology is something we all stumble upon whenever we want to create a song. So while it might seem complicated to get into the roots
So while it might seem complicated to get into the weeds of things with EQ and compression and finding out the exact balance in a mix, and yes, that is hard, the more you work with just recording music, the better you're going to get at it. I hope this makes sense, but don't necessarily think of it as I have to go learn music technology. Just start recording. And then eventually you're going to build up enough literacy in music technology just because you're going to need to in order to record a song. You get like passive knowledge just by existing in the recording environment. Yeah, I went to school for it, and perhaps that kind of accelerated the process, but long before I went to school for it, I learned what an EQ was through like a Boss EQ that I got for my pedal board. I learned about reverb tails through like the decay knob on my Hall of Fame reverb. I learned what distortion and gain staging was through learning about a pedal board. You build up your knowledge of music technology just by being a musician. Don't think of it as too much of a separate thing. It's just recording your art. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of ranty. Angelo asks a very important question. How much is convenient to charge for audio stuff as an amateur? Production, voiceover, mixing, mastering, anything really. Man, if I knew the answer to this, I would tell you, but I don't. I just got out of school. I'm just now starting to get projects for mixing, and I also struggle with how much to charge. I can tell you one thing though, don't undercharge. This is not an answer to your question, but it is a rant related to your question. I hate Fiverr. I don't hate Fiverr because the musician's on it. You guys have all seen these videos, right? Of like
paying a $500 Fiverr artist and paying a $5 Fiverr artist.
I find that the people working on Fiverr aren't not talented. They oftentimes produce pretty reasonable results. But what I have also noticed is they undercharge themselves a lot. I find it insane that somebody can charge $20 in order to mix a song. And here's the reason why I think that cheap of a price is a problem. You're not only undervaluing your skills, you're undervaluing everyone. You're undercutting all of your engineering friends, anyone who's trying to make a living off of something they love and something that they're passionate about. You're essentially telling the public this service is worth $20. And I hate that. I hate that we as a culture are so desperate to get work in audio that we've undervalued ourselves so much that people expect our services for $20. Don't undervalue yourself, because when you do, you undervalue your peers and you undervalue the entire institution as a whole. So that gets into the question of what is a proper value. I don't know. I can't give you a hard number, but it shouldn't be $20. Maybe, I'd say don't go under 80 at least, and that is stupid cheap. That's not a reliable figure. I wouldn't go by that. That was a rant. Here, that's my rant. Let's get into a couple easy ones before the big one at the end. Well, if it's a dynamic microphone, try and be pretty close, probably around 3 inches or so, depending on the microphone and depending if it has like a large proximity effect. The RE20 has a very minimal proximity effect, so I can be like right up on it. But yeah, like around 3 inches with the dynamic. On a condenser microphone, try and stay around 7 to 9 inches away. I know there are some of you out here who disagree with that statement. I'm just telling you my opinion. Best free plugins: Tokyo Dawn Research, TDR Nova, TDR Kotelnikov, anything by Analog Obsession, Valhalla Supermassive, and the Vital Soft Synth. And the big boy question, the one I'm sure all of you guys have seen in the comments. What microphone should I get? Man, there's not an easy answer to this, which is why there's so many people on the internet saying, it depends. But I understand how frustrating of a statement that is. No one wants to ask a question and in response get, it depends on your voice. That's not helpful. As a YouTuber, if somebody says that, we're essentially telling you, we don't know, because it depends a lot on your voice, and because of that, you need to make a wild guess on what you're going to spend your money on. And I understand how that's frustrating, and I also understand why YouTubers say that, because it's true. You can't just recommend a random microphone without hearing a vocal sample. That being said, I've tried to make kind of a middle ground to this problem. Here's the steps I would take in order to try and figure out the microphone that you're going to buy without hearing it on your actual voice. First, filter by what type: dynamic microphone or condenser microphone. Dynamic microphone, better room rejection, but less sensitivity. It's not going to pick up as much detail as a condenser will. That's an oversimplification, but in general, do I want to do more room rejection, or do I want less room rejection and more detail? Because I'm not that worried about the room I'm in right now. Then, once you've figured out that, we're going to go to the frequency response. So let's say we find a microphone with a frequency response that naturally boosts a lot of high end. Let's say the NT1A. Well, if the NT1A boosts a lot of high end, there's kind of two ways to look at that. If I already have a high voice, I can say, well, the NT1A boosts the high frequencies. That's going to make my high-end frequencies of my voice more exaggerated, which means my already high voice is going to be even more noticeable in a Rode NT1A. Or you could say, I have a low voice, and I want the high-end register of my voice to be more noticeable. Therefore, I want a Rode NT1A. Two methods of thought. Find a microphone that's going to boost the part of the voice that's already really present, or find a microphone that's going to boost part of the voice that you want to enhance more. For example, the SM7B is a microphone I do not prefer on my voice. That's because it boosts a lot of low mid-range. I personally don't think I need any more low mid-range. So I went with the competitor to the SM7B, the RA20, because I think it has more high-end, and I want to bring that out in my voice more. Therefore, I went with the microphone that boosted the part of my voice that I thought needed enhancing. Hope that makes sense. So let's go through the stages again. Do I want a dynamic or a condenser? Then I look at the frequency response. Do I want a microphone that's going to boost the part of my voice that I already think is going to be present, exaggerating it more? Or do I want a microphone that's going to boost the part of my voice that needs help? All right, that is enough questions for now. As I said in the beginning of the video, soon, in a few weeks, I'm going to be in NYC. I'm going to have a proper studio setup. I'm going to have all of my equipment that you guys haven't seen yet. It's going to be nice and sparkly and a much better setup than I've ever had before. I would like to know what you want to see from that city and what you want to see from that setup. Give me some ideas for the content that we can make whenever New York City is our studio. Yeah, we're entering a new era. And to be completely honest with you guys, there's some benefits and there's some drawbacks to that. One, the microphone comparisons that are the most popular thing on this channel, that's no longer a format that we can do. I was going to music school, so if I needed a singer to come try out a microphone for me, I could just go get a singer. There were plenty. But now I'm kind of on my own. So we're gonna need to figure out a new format for microphone videos, and we're just gonna think of new content that we want on this channel. So give me some ideas in the comments. I hope the Q&A was helpful. I know this video probably looks like ass because I'm on a construction site with construction AC all around me and dogs walking everywhere. Thanks for sticking with me through what is honestly a very strange part of my life, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.